services. So, you should always see if, check out our website, see how we can help you, and we're always there for you. So getting into today's session is about innovation and capacity building in SMEs, the key to survive amid crisis. So it has now almost been about 3 months since the word COVID-19 has taken a firm place in our daily vocabulary. After the shock and awe, we are now slowly learning to accept the fact that we have no choice but to alter how we live our lives around this pandemic and how to survive in the medium term. For businesses specifically, innovation and change has become a necessity just for survival. We've seen many examples of innovation in products, in channels, and even in pricing and packaging, just due to the constraints that COVID-19 has presented to us. Okay? So today we have our esteemed panelists who will give us their views on innovation and its importance to survive amid the crisis. So let me just, without further ado, introduce our panelists, panel of speakers today. Our first speaker is Dr. H.P. Kumar, whom many of you may know. Dr. Kumar is Director External Affairs at Power to SME, where he designs innovative programs to enhance Power to SME's value proposition for SMEs, suppliers, financial institutes, and so on. His rich experience in leading successful and profitable campaigns to benefit SMEs, Dr. Kumar comes with deep knowledge of SME market. Dr. Kumar has extensive experience in dealing with promotion, development, and financing of MSMEs, exports, and other small and large projects as well. Dr. Kumar, prior to joining Power to SME, was CMD of NSIC, which is National Small Industries Corporation. It's a Government of India enterprise engaged in the development and financing of SMEs in India. So Dr. Kumar today will be speaking on the need for innovation in manufacturing SMEs for self-reliance and capacity building. Our second speaker is Shri Ramanathan Ramanan. He is the Mission Director for the Atal Innovation Mission. It's a flagship innovation initiative by the Prime Minister of India and the Government of India under Niti Aayog. AIM's goals are to establish and promote a vibrant culture of innovation and entrepreneurship nationwide. As Mission Director of AIM, Mr. Ramanan has been instrumental to date in the launch of and the execution of several nationwide initiatives, such as the Atal Tinkering Lab, Atal Incubation Center, etc. Mr. Ramanan was previously Managing Director and CEO of CMC Limited, which is a subsidiary of Tata Consulting Services. Mr. Ramanan has led CMC's rapid transformation from a domestic government organization to a global IT private sector organization. So today, Mr. Ramanan will be speaking on the role of Atal Innovation Mission in promoting the innovative industrial culture in small businesses. And our final speaker is Mr. Sandeep Barve. He is a co-founder MD of Unison Private Limited. Unison helps entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders to improve business performance, define and implement change initiatives, and establish new capabilities. Over the last few years, Mr. Barve has led leadership interventions across Mahindra Group, Garware, Red Hat, Tech Mahindra, and many others, and primarily in the areas of succession planning, enabling CIOs and IT heads to move from a supporting role to leading the businesses, increasing global footprint and sales, strategic offsites, and moving to the next level of capability building at captive development centers. Prior to Unison, he was the head of strategy at Barclays and has worked at the HSBC Global Technology as well as Citibank. Mr. Barve will speak today on reinventing the business through digital transformation. So we have a very esteemed panel of speakers today. I will now hand over the mic to Dr. H.P. Kumar for his topic. Dr. Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Savoor. Thank you. Thanks for very lucid introduction. Let me say good afternoon to all the participants, distinguished participants, and also the esteemed members of the panel. Well, the subject of today's discussion is really very interesting: innovations and capacity building, particularly during the COVID-19 times. What kind of innovations can be undertaken by the MSMEs, and why in fact innovations are important during this time. So let me start with the need for innovations, first of all. Why we are discussing this issue? How does it become relevant in today's time? Innovations have always been practiced all around the world, and we all know that a large number of countries, particularly the advanced countries, have gone ahead in terms of economic development because of innovations. India also started in a lot of policies with regard to bringing innovations into manufacturing and other areas of service, and a lot of administrative issues also. But over a period of time, we have seen that uh, people have not been sensitized enough, particularly the micro, small, and medium enterprises as such, where they could really understand as to how innovations are going to help in their you know businesses, how innovations could increase their productivity, how innovations could improve their efficiency of working, and reduce the cost, uh, remove the drudgery of work of a lot of workers and employees, which of course they have to undergo during the process of manufacturing. There are a lot of activities happening in the micro sector, particularly in traditional artisan sectors in various clusters in the country, where people have to spend a lot of time with the old practices still prevailing for manufacturing and doing the work. I was reading, in fact, just 3 days back, that a worker in Varanasi took 10 days to weave a sari, with the traditional method of weaving. And he's paid 3,000 rupees for one sari. So you can understand the kind of work involved. I'm not saying that the traditional handicraft should be replaced by machines and or latest technologies. But what I'm trying to say is that we should bring in innovations in manufacturing at various stages, which could help, not remove the traditional art, but could help in boosting up the productive processes. And why only the technology for manufacturing? There are innovations required at various stages of corporate administration, including the HR practices and marketing and sales and supply chain procurements. So MSMEs have to be sensitized. That's what I started, because they are not aware as to what kind of innovations they can bring in, and what is the way that they can be incentivized. How will they improve their bottom lines by bringing in innovations? So these are the issues which really are very important and we need to discuss. And that is how I compliment Wadhwani Foundation and Power to SME for choosing this important issue, because these days I see a lot of webinars happening around the country. Most of the people discussing about the stimulus package, financial package, and 3 lakh crore worth of loans being given, but hardly any program on improving the productivity, efficiency, and removing the drudgery of work, bringing in some kind of improvement in the various processes. Business is a process. Business is not only manufacturing, whether it is micro, small, or medium, or a large corporate, or a service enterprise. The whole business becomes can be divided into various processes, and all these processes require continuous improvements and innovations, so that the efficiency of delivering through those mediums and means can be improved day by day. That is how you see the efficiency comes in. That is how you become globally competitive. That is how you can reduce the cost of production. That is how you can remove the wastages. You can reduce the unnecessary expenditure going in wastages. There is a lot of wastage in employee management. I've seen a lot of companies, small, medium, because of lack of proper administration and the good HR practices, a lot of time of the employees gets wasted. So that is also a part of the cost. Similarly, the wastages in terms of material spent on manufacturing. At the same time, in spending efforts in marketing, uh, uh, there is a lot of new innovative practices, innovations coming in the marketing. Like for example, introduction of ICT into marketing is a new area where a lot more reach out can be done through the use of ICT tools. I think a lot of people have started implementing, but still much more needs to be done to bring awareness and knowledge of these tools which are available in the market, whether they social media tools and other like GEM, government e-marketplace, and other mediums which are available for marketing. So on the one side, there are benefits, and on the other side, there is a current scenario where the lot more needs to be done to bring sensitivities, awareness, and programs, incentive programs. And I'm sure that the Wadhwani Foundation would be doing some work in this area. That is how probably they have suggested this kind of program for our, MSMEs. And I was really happy that this new program on capacity building with the help of innovations. I mean, when you say innovations and capacity building, they become two different things. But I think take it as capacity building through innovations, and innovations become the tool for building capacities of the MSMEs. And capacities in terms of not only scaling up the manufacturing, scaling up the level of production, but also building capacities of the employees by way of training, by way of skilling, by way of entrepreneurship development, by way of training the HR people, by way of training the finance department, marketing department, by way of supply chain improvements. So all these become part of the capacity building of an enterprise. And who better than micro, small, which really need all this assistance through the innovations. The government has been trying, in fact, to bring in a lot of technology improvements. They are also part of the innovations, in fact. They are bringing in a lot of new technologies. And ultimately, Atal Innovation Mission, which is, of course, part of our discussion today, AIM, the Niti Aayog started this AIM with a view to bring in, like improvements, changes through technology interventions, and developing new entrepreneurship, bringing in a culture of technology into the MSME space. Well, the Government of India, I've been part of that, system. Government of India, through the tool rooms, the Office of MSME DI, Development Institutes, they run 18 tool rooms in the country, which are big tool rooms, and they provide technological support and common facility services, testing labs, and any technical assistance which is needed by the MSMEs. A new program has been started now to bring in another 15 big technology centers across the country, and also 100 small centers, technology centers, which are going to be established in the country. So this is basically to bring in new technologies and improvements in the manufacturing processes. We are aware that there is a need for import substitution now. With the COVID-19 problem, everybody has come, to realize that depending on Chinese imports is not the way forward for a long term for prosperous in India. We have to ultimately shift to our, Make in India program and indigenize a lot of products which we have been importing over a period of time. That not only helps our industry, but also creates a lot of employment, which is of course need of the hour. And that is how we can, bring in prosperity in the country. So having realized this, I mean, a lot of people have now realized fully. People knew earlier also. Now, of course, it has become really a big pressure on the industry and the society to do as much as possible as early as possible. So with this kind of situation and the compulsions that we have now of indigenizing our more and more products, so there is all the more necessity that we bring in innovative technologies from various countries and develop our own indigenous technologies through innovative practices. I was very happy to see. I went to attend a pitching session recently of some students who had made some innovation, developed some innovative products, and I heard about 25 students in a college, a technology institute. I can tell you, I was so happy that people are thinking of, of their own, bringing in a lot of new products. And one student explained. I said, "What did you? I mean, how you got inspired, and what made you to bring in this new practice?" He said, "See, I found that this particular problem was causing concern every day to me. And when I noticed that problem, I started working on that. What is the solution for this? Why this problem has continued for ages? And how can I resolve this? Because this problem is not only being faced by me, but also millions of people across the country. It was something like trivial problem of, door closing or something. So we ignore these issues, whereas other countries have really taken the lead in addressing these big concerns by bringing in innovative products. So he developed a product which resolved that problem. He was a young person of 25, 26 years, 24 years. And he said he demonstrated that on the stage, that this is the innovation which I have done, and this will remove this problem. You can see that. And it was very convincing. So I said, how much money do you need for, bringing it to commercial level? He said, sir, I need only 5 lakhs rupees. Only 5 lakhs rupees. I mean, he had made the prototype. Prototype was already tested. It was giving the result. The problem was getting resolved. It has usage with millions of people across the country, even abroad. And what does he need is only 5 lakhs rupees to start the commercial production so that he can fix up the machine and he can start a very modest level of production. And gradually, of course, he will need more money at a later stage. But to start at a modest scale, he needed only 5 lakh rupees. So what is the scheme that we have in India which can really assist him with 5 lakhs rupees funding to commercialize the activity? I don't know whether Mr. Ramanathan is there or not, but I would like to ask him and request him to explain and tell us whether AIM, Atal Innovation Mission, has this kind of program whereby all these innovators, which are startups. See, what is startups? The startup scheme of the government of India, where close to 25,000 plus companies, or even more, I think 30,000 plus, startups have got the registrations. All these startups are nothing but innovators. They have developed some product or made some change in the way services are delivered. One particular item, and they have registered as a startup. So the point is, most of them are struggling to bring these startups into the commercial level of operation. They have the prototype, they can show you the product or the service, but they are not having the financial muscle, financial support, whereby they can start and commercialize the activity, which can really be brought into the general use of the people. So I would request, and I have been suggesting this in the government also in the past, that if AIM can include this particular provision whereby these startups can be given initial funding. I know there is some provision in that, but I think the sectors are limited in that. It relates to some sectors where the funding is granted, grant is granted up to 1 crore under the AIM. But if it can be expanded to include a lot of other sectors and services also, whereby most of these, the study can be done of these startups. What are the major sectors these startups belong to? I think most of them are in manufacturing, in light engineering, electronics. Now this take the case of mobile phones. We are importing mobile phones. Even today also we are importing mobile phones from China and other countries. And we need technologies for this. So these programs where people are developing these new products bringing in innovations, these programs should be assisted. I think Mr. Ramanathan is a senior person in Planning Commission, Niti Aayog, and I am sure that Atal Innovation Mission, which is a flagship program of Niti Aayog, and none other than, I think, the Honorable Prime Minister had probably supported this, and I don't know whether he launched it, but he supported it. So I don't think budget should be a problem in that particular program. But the beneficiaries, the kind of help which is needed, I think a lot of work can be done under this program to help the startups, to help the innovators, to help in general the MSMEs who can really improve their processes, who can increase their productivity, who can provide employment to more and more people, who can, become a larger contributor to the Indian economy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar. That is very useful. I hope Mr. Ramanan is going to be able to answer those questions for you. He unfortunately has not been able to join yet, so we are trying to figure out if he will be able to attend. So in the meanwhile, what I would suggest is, Mr. Sandeep Barve, you can start off with your section, and once you are done, if we are able to get Mr. Ramanan back, then we can have his session. Otherwise, we will jump right into Q&A, so it will give us a little bit more time to answer the questions that are coming in. So, Mr. Sandeep Barve, you could start off, please.
Sure, thanks. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thanks, Rahul, for the introduction. Thanks to Wadhwani Foundation and Power to SME for having me on this platform. Today, I'll be talking about business reinvention through digital transformation. So quickly, let us understand the context behind it, as well as let us understand what is business reinvention first. So I think I don't have to talk much about the need of digital and need of transformation anymore. COVID has created that kind of realization. But I see a little bit danger of, as the normalcy returns, as we start unlocking and all that, there could be a potential danger that people might go back to their old way of doing business, old way of doing things. So let us have a clear realization what COVID has done to the world. One simply thing is, market is cruel. It will not spare anybody. Let us have this realization. The change will not spare anybody. Second is, basically every business will need a drastic change. It is not going to be patchwork. It is not going to be simple change here and there. So the language itself has been changing from change to transformation to now reinvention. That's the difference. Third is, basically it's inevitable. Technology and change is unavoidable. So I keep on saying it might sound cruel, but better change or retire. That is the only option, both for professional as well as for businesses. So in that context, let me quickly make what business reinvention is all about. In a simple language, it is about changing the way you work, that we have seen, the changing the way you produce goods, the changing way you produce them. What is it that you service or sell, the product or the offering itself? Changing the way you market, changing the way you generate money, changing the way you service customer. So it is almost like 360-degree change. And it is fortunate that technology is here to support us. And that is where the business reinvention is going to be supplemented by technology. In today's context, the old thinking, old strategies and old technologies are not going to work. You need unconventional strategies and technologies. So let me quickly get on to business reinvention through digital transformation. I'm going to talk both about the digital transformation from a technology perspective as well as from an organization in manufacturing field especially. How does it means for end-to-end processes? So let me quickly cover. There is a bit confusion between digitalization and digital transformation. People use those words inter alia. Basically, digital was the first generation simply computerization. Digitize manual operations. That means put a computer and create a system. ERPs of old age, where the digital avatars, digitalization expanded the technology to the next level through LAN and WAN and connected the various functions for information exchange, data flow seamlessly among the entire organization. So sales data is known to finance, finance data is known to strategies guys, the line of businesses, the information is flowing through HR, HRMS, finance, all these systems are got established and all got connected. That was the second wave. What we mean by digital transformation and business reinvention is necessarily taking it to the next level, which is the outside world, to the customers. So digital transformation in simple words is going to be attract, acquire, and service customers, first thing, through digital technologies, through digital means. Then create new innovative offerings. Convergence of technology is just this example that today we are using 5 technologies while having this communication. One is the video, second is the internet, third is basically the tools like Google Meet and Zoom, and fourth is obviously telecom. So 4 technologies coming together and making this possible. Apply these technologies and convergence of technologies in your business, and I'm going to talk a little bit of that. So understand digital transformation is enabling business, transactioning and creating business online, moving everything online with new business models, and new business models and technology can create really new segments, new offerings. You would have seen quickly how people would have moved online, and that's a reason that businesses will have to start looking into basically new ways that they can generate and create the business. Let me cover quickly few technologies, names we keep on hearing. I'm going to attach the purpose and benefit, and then we'll come to the end-to-end business. First is the cloud technology. The obvious option here is reduce the total cost of ownership. Earlier, ERP or big services or big IT infrastructure, every company will have to create. SMEs didn't have that much space, that much bandwidth, that much finances to invest in that. Cloud and platform as a service, software as a service is creating that opportunity. Less cost of owning, less cost of physical space, data center, etc. And at the same time, you are getting on-demand scalability. Second is basically data and decisioning. A lot of systems interconnected. Today it is important to go through decisions through not gut feel but on the basis of data, and end-to-end data is available through technologies. One is there are a lot of technologies giving you customer sensibilities, customer data from various online channels. Through IoT and other means, machines are going to talk to and provide the edge level and actual data where we can make a lot of decisions. So data and decisioning is going to be the next big wave. IoT, we talk about Internet of Things. It is going to be a hyper-connected world. So everything just now I mentioned, and IoT is getting connected into not just engineering but also healthcare. So everywhere IoT is coming in place, and in healthcare, let me just quickly give an example. You have a mobile phone, and then you have a wearable watch which will track your jogging and feet movement and all that, which is already there. There is a patch available to measure your glucose and remit it to your digital twin. So a lot of things are happening across industries. Start looking into that. Blockchain is another kind of technology, but that is emerging and evolving. AR, VR, and mixed reality. These are virtual kind of realities that are being created. That has its application across maybe demos and site visits and education, game, entertainment, learning, development, and so on and so forth. 3D technologies are emerging up, and design technologies are coming up, 3D PLM softwares and all these things. So basically look at various technologies. The question is, which technologies are we going to use where, and how can it benefit us? And that is where each organization will have a difference in terms of the strategies and making a technology choice. So let me go through end to end and try to appraise about which technologies fit where. You need to, as participants, look into what is it that topmost priority, servicing the customer, how you can then make their life easy, because today everything is real time. And experience is everything, and everybody wants everything at convenience. So convenience is becoming prime. this not just only applies to B2C, but also applies to B2B, because just simply ask this question that if I'm sitting at home, I can order a pizza, I can order a TV, I can order any other gadget. Why shouldn't my customer be in a position to order maybe a compressor or maybe a power machine or something else, and track that where the shipment is going to happen, when it is going to happen, when it is going to get delivered, make the digital payments, so on and so forth. So let me cover the business areas, and I'm going to start sequentially, starting from marketing and sales. So look at the way marketing is going online. The traditional path is no more attracting customers. A lot of businesses are moving digital. Basic purpose of that is expanding the brand awareness and establishing the USP. You are able to reach 10 times to 100 times more customers or prospects just by using various digital channels. So digital channels, digital marketing, and there are a lot of automation tools. So basic things are email marketing and surveys, and you can use automation, remarketing, ad campaigns, and so on and so forth. Basic purpose is appear visible, be in front of the client at their own time, at their convenience, in their place, and in the device that they want, kind of handheld, where people access Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So digital is basically one, marketing and sales. In terms of sales, a lot of sales are going to be now contactless sales. Till the time this lockdown and all these things, even another 6-8 months, we probably are moving to contactless sales. So how do you master that? How do you use effective CRM solutions? Or there are sales field mobile applications. Those are applications for the sales field, as well as those are applications for service engineers. So find out these type of sales enablement applications, and obviously there is going to be sales data analytics solutions, that what are the prospects, how much cost I'm spending on marketing in terms of that, how many leads I am generating, what is my cost of customer acquisition. All these things will be helpful if you move online, because most of these solutions provide the analytics and data which can be easily tracked and analyzed. The next part is basically the business processes, starting from, are you enabling your customer to buy online, place an order online, so on and so forth. So one is basic information availability, which is like website and all these things, which is given. But transaction processes, are you enabling customers to buy things online, connecting your ERP, connecting your entire supply chain solution, direct sales channel, are you creating online store, are you being there on the online platforms, e-commerce platforms, so on and so forth. Servicing customers through chatbots, servicing customers through robotic process automation, a lot of technologies are there. The next one is basically the design. I already mentioned there are 3D PLM softwares, product lifecycle management, used in manufacturing, used in construction, used in almost every industry, where drastically the design time is reduced, and even the designs are getting generated within weeks rather than getting months. Next is production and deployment. Production is basically using of robotic automation, smart factories, so on and so forth. You can just think of, from an MSME perspective, I would just suggest that think in terms of replacing just old machines. Your productivity may go by 10 times. You will be in a better position to create not just higher capacity, but better capability in terms of a quality of the product, in terms of timeliness, in terms of reduced cost. So production is a big area where companies can start looking into these aspects. Servicing and maintenance, I already mentioned that, but IoT and sensor-based solutions, this is where the world is moving. Hyper-connected devices, real-time experiences. So sensor-based techniques, how can we bring that? How can we have even our old deployments at customer locations or our own products, which are basically PLC and SCADA-based systems old? Can we move that from analog to digital? And then how can we connect that to the web and create those data analytics and decision-making possible? Logistics, there are a lot of logistics solutions available which can be connected end-to-end within your organization. So today what is happening is, old world was one ERP system implemented internally and technology is done, information technology. Today it is plethora of systems, both internal and external connected, and that is where it is going to become a connected devices. And finally, you can connect as well and implement an end-to-end solutions even with finance, HR, compliance, and other for all the automation and transaction processing. So what I'm talking about, different technologies, different areas of business, you need to find it out which one is going to be the utmost beneficial to you. And we don't have to worry about technology. It's not rocket science. All the manufacturing companies or even the SMEs, you have a technical background, you are technocrats, you have something. Technology, information technology is not a rocket science or some alien animal. You can master it by reading, read, try to understand through such seminars. So I would stop here, and probably we can look at Q&A and any other questions that people might have. Thanks, Rahul. Over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Sandeep. I think that was a very good session. I think one of the points that I would also like to highlight from what Sandeep said is that democratization of all of these innovation and technology. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, these technology were good to read about, but you knew as an SME that you didn't have the money to be able to do this. Today, with SaaS solutions and cloud-based solutions, the ability for SMEs to be able to incorporate these kind of technologies based on their budget is available, right? So all the way from digital marketing or IoT-based solutions like Sandeep mentioned, you look at retrofitting your existing machines to be able to give you a lot of data in terms of performance, efficiency improvement, and so on. All that can be done based on the budgets that you have, and so you can always scale up over time. You don't have, it's not all or nothing. You can start small and start building it over time. But these are things that you as SMEs can do and should be looking at. And again, the point that Sandeep made about, if you look at it, it's not just one solution. There are various things you can do in various areas on the efficiency improvement from on the product and your operation side to sales and marketing, where it's a contactless and it's literally, zero cost. There are so many things that are available today in terms of what you can get from, being on LinkedIn, on Google My Business, a lot of things that you can do where you become more visible to your customers, and automatically you start seeing a lot of leads coming in. So if you're not doing this, you're doing yourself a disservice. So I think you really need to take a look at it. There's a lot of information available out there. Feel free to reach out to us as well. I mean, we provide a lot of information for you to learn and read and to improve your own businesses. So great, thank you so much, Sandeep. I have a couple of questions, and then maybe we can also go and take a look at some of the questions that have come on the chat. So one of the things, going back to Dr. H.P. Kumar, he talked about innovation, and that is a word that we hear about a lot. Most of us don't quite understand how that relates to us as a business. So it's nice. We can talk about innovation and we can talk about how the benefits of it, but an SME would ask you, so what is it that I need to do within my company to have that innovative mindset? So if you can give your thoughts, Dr. Kumar, on what is it that an SME would need to do to start thinking innovatively, and then ensuring that going forward that that mindset is there, not only with the leadership team but in the entire company.
See, innovation as such, is a very generic kind of a term. So you have to think of in terms of and relate it in terms of your own activities. When it comes to industry, innovations in manufacturing. So innovations can be there in anything, in your domestic affairs, in your personal affairs, in your office work, in your marketing. It could be anything which attracts innovation, innovative practices, innovative tools. But when it comes to manufacturing, particularly when you are talking of micro, small and medium manufacturing enterprises. So innovations apply first of all at the stage of manufacturing. And that involves not only the change in technology, bringing in the new machines, because that is one part of the innovations, but also the processes of manufacturing. Whether it is a machines layout, whether it is a machines like manufacturing processes in terms of developing a chain of processes or chain of outputs. So, and then training of the people. the manpower, because of lack of training, because of lack of proper skilling, even the most advanced machine also cannot work, and it will give you, very less productivity from an untrained person as compared to a trained person, a skilled person. So skilling and new technologies are one part. Processes is another part. Layout is another part. Then the skilling of the people and new technologies will also remove wastages. So if you are, if your industry average of wastage is say 3% or 2%, and your factory or your manufacturing unit is giving 5% wastage or 6% wastage, there is some problem. You have to naturally analyze. So where you are losing in terms of your output, in terms of your, competitive advantage, you have to identify that and then bring in some improved practices and innovative practices to change that. There are so many, innovations which have been brought in now at a cluster level to improve, to provide those benefits of those, innovative solutions to the entire cluster. For example, treatment of water, wastewater, treatment of, like environment related issues. It may be difficult for one unit to bring in, install and invest for capital equipment, but at a cluster level, it can be done jointly by a group of people and group of industries. That is another innovations and improvements which units can bring in. Similarly, in other areas of, industrial, processes, for example, in supply chain, what people are doing is micro, small, medium. They are buying in, retail, small quantities from retailers and intermediaries at a very high prices in terms for purchase of raw materials. Now there is a innovative practice of fixing supply chain by way of like Power to SME has done. They buy directly from the manufacturers in bulk and then supply in smaller quantities to small micro enterprises at a very competitive prices, thereby removing the need for intermediaries, retailers and wholesalers. That is an innovative practice of procuring raw materials and removing the hurdles, delays, as well as the unnecessary additional cost burden on the in procurement of raw material. So these are the practices, innovative practices, which micro, small, medium enterprises have to think of on daily basis and improve by bringing in changes and improvements.
Perfect. Thank you. No, I think that's a very good point, because I think most people think about innovation. They think about innovation in terms of new product. Let's get into new markets and stuff like that. And that is, yes, definitely that is innovation. But I think what you pointed out very correctly is that even, in industrial best practices, incorporating best practices, finding ways where you can significantly improve your cost structure and so on, that is also a part of innovation. And that's the continuous improvement that you as a company need to start thinking about. And there are solutions, like you said, Power to SME is doing the aggregation model where you can get the benefit of volume discounts, even though your requirements are much smaller. So I think you need to start looking at these kind of solutions that are available out in the market today. Great, thank you so much. And my next question is to Mr. Barve. So can you give us some examples of where with any clients where you might have used some new innovative solutions that you've implemented where they've seen some value out of that?
Sure. I think let me set the context and give that example. One of the challenges SMEs always have, and that will be more today, that should I look at my survival, should I look at my current business and coming back to normalcy, or you are all talking about digital and technology and innovation and all these things. I think that example also I'll give how we change that mindset and all. But let me tell 4 key areas every manufacturing as an immediately something that they need to focus, so that they generate funds to invest in technology and innovation. The first and foremost thing is get out of non-core offerings. Many people are trying to do everything for everybody, have expanded multiple products, multiple customer segments and all, and they have not done the study that which products are really profitable, which products are really generating higher sales, which products are really eating up their resources, time, creating more headache and all that. I would suggest every SME to look into first, get rid of non-core offerings, segments or activities or all value-added things. Focus on your niche, and that is how you release more capacity, you release more capital also to start investing into technology. The second is develop a product need fit, perfect fit for right customer segment, whether your product is there or not. So niche and product fit. The third is bring out your existing uniqueness and position that in the market through digital channels. Only then you are going to accelerate yourself. So it is a cycle. It is not that I look for changing technology tomorrow itself. First, create a niche, get rid of all non-core activities, generate capacity, generate fund. Now start thinking about how can I aggressively market that and generate higher revenue. And obviously then how can I start investing in technology. Now linking this to an example, we did that about a year back. We started this engagement with a healthcare company. And obviously healthcare company being their entire model was physical model with physical assets, people coming into their centers and getting physically diagnosed, checked, treated and everything, right? So first thing what we did was, and as I mentioned, get rid of your non-core activities and basically focus. They had 7 different offerings. We made them come down to 3 core offerings. So that reduction of 4 offerings created almost 30-40% additional capacity, additional capital. That was the first step we did. So they created a dedicated focus. We moved them next to the digital marketing campaign. Earlier they were spending, you would be surprised, it's a small company, I'm not talking about a big company. They were not spending more than 50,000 on the entire marketing budget a month. And that too is high for few, but this is the time that people need to start thinking about. Today they are spending more than 10 lakh rupees. You can see the kind of revenue jump and profitability jump they would have achieved over last 1.5 years. So we started aggressive digital marketing campaign, positioning their position uniqueness in the market and start generating the skills. Then the next step was really getting online and getting digital. So what we did, that all their physical sessions, we used technology and started all the digital sessions online through webinars, through sessions like this, and also recording a lot of audios and pushing that to the prospects and customers. We also introduced telemedicine. So they already had a mobile app. We enhanced that app, integrated that with internal CRM system and integrated that with the entire flow of the treatment. And that is how they went completely digital. And fortunate, this happened last November, 0 impact of lockdown. Even during lockdown, they have been continuing their business. Their competitor, which were earlier threatening them, got really down to their knees and really went difficult times. So what happened? One, focus on their offerings. Second, aggressive digital marketing. And third, moving entire operations to digital. 3x profitability increase, 6x, and I'm not joking, 6x within 15 months revenue growth. This is what is the story that we have generated as a part of In Unison. I have been talking about this, that create a niche, create a focus, and then bring digital, because you need money to do that.
Well, that's an amazing example, and I think I completely subscribe to that. Also, when we talk to SMEs, we say the same thing. You know, COVID has kind of made people and businesses start thinking twice about, you know, what is core, what is their unique value proposition, and then focus only on that, and then drop everything else. And that kind of brings in that focus, whether you like it or not. It kind of brings in that focus, and once you know what your focus and positioning is, then you start pushing that on digital. And we have seen similar examples with some of the SMEs we've been working with, is that the reason why they are where they are in terms of the size of the business is because people don't know about them. Digital allows you to be able to be visible to a lot more people. So if you have a right product, well-packaged product, whether it's a B2B or a B2C, when you have a right product and you're marketing it well and positioning it well, people will come. I mean, in today's world, everybody talks about, when are we going to get back to the old times, and recovery is going to take a year or more. But in these times, in our mind, what happens is the good products start selling even more. The bad products fall by the wayside. So there is a little bit of filtering that happens. But if you are confident that you have a good solution, then there's no need for you to worry about it. And I think focusing on digital is most important.
Yeah, but Rahul, just quickly, a small example I will give that let people not think that digital is the only way. They have to be creative and innovative in terms of looking at various markets. And I'll give you our example also. Not that we don't struggle to find innovative solutions for our clients. Trading business, you can really not do much in trading business, right? You are restricted to a particular geography. You are restricted to a particular set of products. How can you grow? So first thing what we did was basically do some internal changes, reduce costs, bring efficiency and all that. But that will not bring accelerated growth. So it really took us 6-8 months time to really think through. And I'll give an example what happened with this company. They were selling the infrared thermal cameras in the industrial sector. Camera used to cost anywhere between upward 1 lakh to 10 lakh and all these things, right? So a lot of the focus was on big industries because SMEs cannot afford that. Finally, we came up with a product which was basically a service saying that can you conduct a thermal audit of your company, because any company which has wiring, any company which has motor, any company which has anything to do with heat or this thing, thermal cameras are useful. So after 6-8 months, we came up with this product. And you would not believe they expanded and got almost 300 customers from a completely different area, which they had never envisaged. It opened a new revenue stream. It opened a foot-in-door strategy, and they might have opportunity to convert the buyers into buying the camera. So think innovative. It is all innovation across your business model.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's a good example of where you can see you need to start putting yourself in the shoes of the customer, trying to figure out, what are his roadblocks to buying your product, assuming that the product is good. If pricing is an issue, can you convert that into some kind of a subscription model or a service where at the end of the day, you are able to provide that service and he's able to get that value without by overcoming that the initial barrier of the high upfront cost, right? Absolutely. But I think in addition, one of the points I wanted to mention was that very few SMEs are today looking at e-commerce as a sales channel. So that same example you gave, let's say you've got a slightly smaller product and you think, and it's a B2C product and you've been working the traditional distribution channels, you look at something like going with a Flipkart or an Amazon, or you even have the B2B kind of e-commerce marketplaces available today. They give you that reach pan-India, which you didn't have otherwise. I mean, today you're only selling in one part of India just because, that's the physical distribution reach that you have. But, e-commerce allows you to just spread all over, right? And to the point where, depending on what you want to do, you can have the entire logistics being handled by the e-commerce supplier, right? Or the provider. They'll come to your doorstep, they'll pick up the product, they'll deliver it to the customer's doorstep. You do nothing. Yes, it will cost you, but you do nothing, right? You don't have to worry about setting up an infrastructure for that.
So I think that is where, Rahul, I mentioned, and don't try to do everything for everybody.
Correct.
Collaborate, create an ecosystem, leverage that. You focus on your core, what you are best at. Rest, leave to partnerships and collaborations.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think we're almost at 3 o'clock now. So maybe if Zumair, we could have a couple of questions that were there on the chat group. We could read them out. We could try to answer that.
Yes, please. I would request my colleague Sodamni to read out the questions to you.
Okay,
so the first question we have is, in the unprecedented times like COVID, when MSEs are dried of funds to start operations, where should the focus be on? Technology or mere survival?
So, Mr. Kumar, can you try to answer that one?
Yeah, in fact, you see, it is not a choice of taking one of the two. You see, both are important. Survival, of course, is the foremost thing. Unless you survive, what is the use of technology in any case? So survival becomes precedent. But for survival, you need, lot many things to, organize. And liquidity and funding is the foremost thing, which of course government of India also has taken some measures to, bring in by way of a stimulus package. But survival, of course, is the key as of now, and survival will happen only when you are able to reorganize, reopen your operations, and plan it accordingly. Don't jump, in fact, just to restart everything and anything which was happening prior to COVID, because you have to plan. Now the things are going to change, the market is going to change, the demand is going to be different. Consumers are shying, in fact, shying away from spending too much on luxurious and non-essential products, and even essential products, they are in fact very conservative and keeping cash and protecting their cash, because the revenues have gone down, the incomes have gone down, the salaries have cut. In fact, a lot of change has happened. So the business models also accordingly have to be restructured, and you have to really plan for another 6 months, particularly in terms of your cash flow. Projecting the real, in fact, level of your operations, which are likely to happen in terms of sales and productivity and realization of your dues. Be careful in terms of your credit sales. Be careful in terms of recovering your old dues. You should try your best to recover old dues. Everybody is stressed. It is not you are financially stressed. Even other stakeholders who have been dealing with you, whether your suppliers or your buyers, or they are also stressed. So you have to be cautious, plan, and then be realistic, work accordingly based on your actual, projections, actual, level of projections, which is feasible and practical. And survival, of course, once you survive, the technology, of course, is a part of the entire business process. Technology will further take you upward, will scale your business up, will really expand your business, will give you more profitability, will reduce your cost. So all these things will happen after you are able to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, one of the things I was going to mention is that we at Wadhwani Foundation, we have a program called a Sahayata program, where we work with the SMEs and help them understand. We do what is called a scenario planning. So we look at the current situation, the industry that they're in. We give them some guidance on how long we think that that industry is going to take to come back to normal or somewhere close to normal. And if that is the situation, what is it that you need to do? So first thing to do is introspection. Take a look, like Sandeep said, take a look at, what are your core strengths, competencies, what are the products that are actually selling well, get rid of the products that are not selling well. Let's figure out what are your fixed costs. Can we look at things that we can negotiate, reduce, and eliminate? So once we've done all of that, and then try to figure out, okay, my monthly outgoing was X. Can I bring that X down to 50% of X? So that will help you save money on a monthly basis, because now you're more focused. And then figure out, okay, do I still need to go and get a loan from the government? Now they've given us this emergency loan scheme. I can tap into that. Do I need to do that, or do I just continue to do a bootstrapping like we suggest? That should always be option number one. But I think digital kind of weaves into that only because it's a more efficient way of marketing and more efficient way to get leads. I mean, one thing is to reduce your costs, but unless there is revenue coming in, and that is kind of stemmed because of COVID, is there things you can do very cheap or next, almost free, that will allow more leads to come in, right? So I think it's a combination of both. And when you start doing that, I think that's the first thing you need to do. I know we've just most of us have just started our getting back to offices and factories opening up in the last 1 month or so. But let's not assume this is back to normal. Okay, 2 mahine ka leave tha, abhi aa gaye wapas, but let's not start the way we did before, because the world has changed. The world has changed, and we need to sit down, even if it takes you a couple of days, assess where you are and what your plan should be going forward. That's how you will survive. Once you survive, then you can figure out what else you can do after that. But plan that survival. Otherwise, your chances of survival are going to go down, right? So I think that's most important.
Mr. Kumar, what both of you have replied, I would put it in a question that every businessman need to think: how can I bring in innovation and technology to create survival also, and then scale up?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So there is one more question.
Sure.
Sir, on the same line as Mr. Barve, there is a lot of talk of expanding capacity utilization through innovation and digital solutions like AI. An example of the textile industry was raised earlier. Please highlight how textile manufacturing can utilize innovation and AI in today's times with the limited resources and delay in dispersal of funds.
Okay. Let me put it two perspectives here. One is basically AI is a advanced technology. Basically, it's artificial intelligence based on a lot of data. It really depends on if you are mature to have that internal data in your company, so that the AI is machine learning, training the machines to infer data and take decisions, be it related to marketing, be it related to any other operations in your organization. So when we hear a lot of technologies, we really need to put them into perspective. Unless you have a good internal and external data, AI will not benefit. Let us understand that. A technology vendor may come and try to sell you AI. It is not going to help you. But what will help first is integrate your organization internally and externally, entire supply chain, your operations and everything. Bring in that additional level of data. Then only you can deploy AI. So that is the solution in context of AI technology and its deployment. Now, as far as textile industry is concerned, a lot of things are available in terms of automated machineries, which are really making the textile entire value chain process automated. And that is where first usage of both the automated machines and integrated information technology should be tried in textile. There are a lot of online marketplaces available where you get a lot of design ideas which you can buy. There are a lot of marketplaces where you can sell. So integrate the organization from a technology digital transformation perspective first, then AI and ML like advanced solutions will come in.
And my two bits on what Sandeep said, and this is also what we recommend to SMEs, is that data analytics, it's a much bandied word. Everybody talks about it. No one really understands what it means. But actually, data analytics is very simple in my mind. If you as SMEs are sitting on a gold mine of data, if you look at your sales and the billing data for the last 3 years, somebody who has even basic understanding of data analytics will be able to come back and identify patterns, which will help you figure out, again, going back to what Sandeep saying, figure out which products are selling, which products are not selling, who is buying, how often are they buying, what is the trend across your customer base, who has been increasing their purchase over the years, who has been declining. All of these things can be given to you. If just all you need to do is give me 3 years of your tally data, in terms of customers, the products that they bought, basically invoicing data, and you will be surprised to see the amount of information and very good information you can get out of this, which will help you decide how to strategically go forward, not just on the product side, on your operation side, as well as on the sales side. There are a lot of companies out there today, and these are a lot of small companies who will be able to provide you a service for a few thousand rupees. They will be able to run analytics, and most of the software available today, like R and Python and all of that, is free. You don't need to spend a lot of money to try to get this, and even if you don't have the knowledge about this, there are enough experts available in the gig economy today who will be able to quickly churn this around for within a week or two and get you a wealth of information from your own data. So if you've not done this so far, go ahead and do this. And this, I think, would be your initiation to ML and AI. Later on, you can always think about how to, integrate, bring in technology and do a lot of that pattern recognition and all of that fun stuff that they talk about. But this is your foot in the door. And so I urge you, it doesn't cost you much. There are a lot of people to do it. Please go ahead and do that.
I just one caveat I would like to add, Rahul. While teledata is normally a good quality of data, if the data is coming from other systems in SME, there is a lot of data quality issues that the data is not complete, the data is not foolproof. So look into that aspect, and obviously then data analytics can help a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And usually what ends up happening is that SMEs realize the deficiency in the data that they're gathering. So that also is a good input that they get when they start doing these activities.
True. Yeah.
Okay, great. Sudhamni, do we have any more questions? Any time for it?
No, sir, those are all the questions we had.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much. Unfortunately, Mr. Ramanan could not join us today, but I think amongst us, I think we had... I learned a lot. I think it was a great session. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep Barve. Thank you, Mr. HP Kumar. Wonderful session, and I hope I can be a part of a few more of these too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for everyone.
Thank you. So, Zumair, maybe we can just wrap up here then.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all. So I thank all the participants and the panelists, and I thank you to you, Rahul, also. And
thank you so much. Stay safe.